SportsReplays here. So this is my pre-season Supercoach team. So first off, we'll start off with Nick Dacos. I think it's probably the closest player you'd have to a lock. The highest premium player, the most in terms of premium players, is probably the one you should have in your side. The only concern is that it is his third year now, so I think sides will pay attention to him more. That's a bit of concern with him too. Another one is maybe potentially the injury he did have towards the end of last season too. Not too sure if that'll impact his performance. Seems to do doing well now. But yeah, look, he's probably the lock, probably the closest premium or over 600k player that you should probably lock into your side. I was kind of think of a reason why you wouldn't put him in. Maybe a bit expensive, but there's no other really good defenders that are probably around that price range. You just want an absolute lock. They're definitely going to guarantee to score well. Okay, and Sicily, why have I picked him? Well, because he's again another high, potentially scoring player. Been fairly consistent in the last couple of years. I do have one really, red flag with him though, and that's because he just gets suspended a lot. The silly things, or if not suspended, he gets injured, and it's just, it can be a bit of a mess sometimes with Sicily. I think 2022 he did play, majority of the season or pretty much every game. He hasn't really done that every other season. He usually gets, doesn't complete a full season. And he misses a few games here and there, and it's just frustrating if you're an owner of Sicily. You really want to get as much as you want your players playing. And look, I reckon if he doesn't get injured and he doesn't do anything well, it's a must pick. But there is still a bit of concerns. I guess every player does have their concerns with Sicily. It's just it does something silly. That's probably the biggest concern with Sicily. But again, he's a great interceptor, and we get a lot of points from that. It is probably Hawthorn's best player at the moment, to be honest. Okay, and Zach Williams. Well, I think this one's an obvious one too. It's probably another one. I wouldn't say the closest to a lock, but if he plays, he's just going to go up no matter what. Even if it's only a couple 100k to 400k, that's probably all we need. But he can probably go up even more. He did have a few good seasons with GWS, but again, injuries just killed him over the last few seasons. He's had terrible luck. Wooly, look, if he can play fit and healthy, he's definitely must have in your side. But I guess the biggest issue with this pick is the injury, and is he going to be right for round one? That's a concern with Williams, and really has been for the last couple of seasons. So that one's pretty straightforward. It's a selection. I'm not going to go into too much detail. And you got Curtin, not really familiar with this player. It's another rookie. He's a midfielder defender as well, so that's another reason why I've picked him. So I can spot a bit of change. It's a bit I need to get a bit of a read on the pre-season matches. Be probably a good idea. But look, he's a midfielder defender. It does create a bit more flexibility. Josh Gibbs has now been in a few seasons, been in the AFL for a couple of seasons now. So he hasn't yet to break out, and he's still I reckon he's undervalued. So look, he should go up in value if he plays. Richmond, is going downhill now. So the cliff's fallen now for Richmond. They're gonna basically just fall off a cliff a little bit now. And Gibbs just needs to step up and play his part now. I reckon he's going to do that, and might have it will at least go up in value, go up in price this season. 150. He's bound to go up if he plays. And he should be able to get a cemented spot in Richmond's side now, as their players are getting older, and few of their players are retired. So he should be able to get a spot comfortably. Zach Reed's another player. Has been suffering a lot of injuries, and it's sort of hindered his development. He's been in the system for a few years now, so he's definitely more mature than some of these other younger players. If he does get selected, there's another issue too. Having Ben Mackay back in and Ridley fit might potentially affect Zach Reed's role. It really depends if he's in and he's fit and healthy. He should be able to he'll be able to go up in value. You make money off him. The question is he going to be playing round one? And that's the main issue with some of these players, particularly Zach Reed. I reckon he could, we'll have to wait in pre-season with that. But if he does, he's definitely going to go up. And Hoare, again, he's played in the AFL system, had one or two decent seasons. It was a few years ago we picked him, made a fair amount of money off him. So he does have that potential. If he can get selected, it's gonna be tough with Melbourne. But look, if he does play, potentially we be able to hopefully plays a couple of good games and get money off him. This one's going to be a bit really again, it's just the job security with Hall more than anything. And Nick Caulfield at the Bulldogs, I reckon he should get a game, or at least get a game at some point. He's mature age now, so he has been in the system for a few years now. So he should be able to go up in value once he plays. But again, it's the job security with Caulfield. Although Bulldogs defence, is probably the weakest part of their structure, to be honest. So I'm quite confident he will get some games, but I need to wait until start of pre-season to get a better eye on Caulfield. Because again, it's another player who's suffered a bit of injuries. So like a lot of these players in this back line, at least suffered some injury or job security issues, or have been suspended. Have those issues. That's the thing. This isn't a perfect back line at the moment. There's obviously red flags with, well, not red flags, but there's cons about each selection here. And then obviously got the starting off now moving on to the midfield. We've got Dawson. Bit expensive now. I mean, I picked him because I thought, it was fairly consistent. He's part of that. He's in his prime. He's going to be the main Adelaide's best player now. Probably alongside with Laird. Maybe Walker. Well, the Walker's past it. So look, I reckon Dawson's going to be their main priority. I don't think he's going to go up in value too much. He's probably going to stay the same. Hopefully, he doesn't lose too much value. But Dawson, look, he's definitely a player. I reckon it's probably the player I trust at the moment the most. I would say. Yeah, he's done it for one season though, and that's the issue. Would say it trust, but looking at the other selections, it's either a bit expensive or is it either off-field issues or injury concerns. With some of the other higher players, like Bontempelli, for example, he's a bit expensive. I'll probably bring him on middle season, or once he drops down a bit. And then you've obviously got Oliver's and a bit of some off-field issues. On-field he's never had any really big problems. Just this, he did have a bit of injury last year, but I reckon it seemed to be more of a mental game with Oliver because Melbourne really need him. So I'm not too sure what's going on with him. But back to Gordon. Look, I reckon he might even win the Brownlow this year. Who knows? Came very close. Was one of the best finishing players last season. Was the main reason why Sydney got into finals. To be honest, it's clearly their best player. So Gordon, look, I reckon still young as well. So look, he could even go up and maybe increase his average this year. Because he did have a mediocre, not the best start to the season, but had a great finish. And look, that's why I picked Gordon. I reckon he might even improve his average. Moving on here, so we've got Tom Green. Why have I picked him? Simply because I reckon he's going to be, if one of GWS's best players now, he's in that sweet spot with age. He's not too young, but he's not too old. He's heading towards his prime. He had a bit of a breakout season last year, which everyone corrected him pretty well. I reckon he might even go a bit further notch this year. And like Gordon, similar sort of what I can say, in that sweet spot, not too old, not too young, sort of heading in towards his peak of his career. So I reckon his average might increase even more. Obviously Gordon's a bit smaller and is more of a bit more of an outside-ish player. Tom Green's a bit more of that, inside, contested ball type player. So I reckon he'll go up in average, maybe a little bit. I can't say. Hopefully another by 5 points is my prediction. And Sam Walsh there's a bit of a selection. He's probably a little bit undervalued. Last season wasn't his best year. I could argue he's another player that could potentially win the Brownlow. But he's probably undervalued considering the injury he's had, and he just hasn't had best of luck the last couple of years wasn't far off winning the Brownlow a few years ago. But the injury sort of affected his career the last couple of seasons a little bit. So look, I reckon he can go if he's fit and ready, and finishes out the season without any interruptions. He will go. His average will improve. So I guess why that's a lot of other people have selected him too, and why have I picked him? So that's why I've gone with Walsh. Not too much to say there. I guess the biggest concern is is he going to play every game? That's my concern. Tuke Miller. My thoughts on him. Again, he's another player that suffered a bit of injury, so his price is a bit lower than what I reckon. Well, his average and what it should be. He's undervalued. If he plays every game, he's going to be consistent. The only issue with Miller now, you do have a few other Gold Coast midfielders in there as well. I guess that's sort of the issue with Carlton as well. So you've got Noah Anderson, you've got Matt Wells, their two biggest competitors there, and there's a few other midfielders too. So it's he's not the one man show like he was a few seasons ago. When Gold Coast were really struggling. So this one's going to be a little bit unpredictable. I'd say it's going to be tough to pick. I mean, he's a professional, very professional player, Miller. He works hard, one of the hardest working players, in my opinion. So look, that's my thoughts at Miller. He should go up his average this year due to the injuries. So it's not a huge concern in terms of if he does play and plays every game. He should, it should be a good selection. Just has he recovered well from the injury? That's my concern. Plus a few other things with the Gold Coast Suns. It's a bit with the new coach as well. It was a bit up in the air with that. But we'll see how we go with that. I mean, it's more likely he's going to improve his average on what he did last season. We've got Corey here, McEachran. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I could be wrong. And again, he's another high draft pick that North Melbourne have picked, and he's most likely going to play. There's another selection. It's sort of, wouldn't say must have. It's hard to get a bit of a read on. Point in a bit more of a way to getting a few season matches in. It's kind of difficult. You're going from playing against teenagers to, grown men, like the best of the best as well. It'd be interesting to see how he goes. He is in a weak side, so he should get matches and probably, it shouldn't be an issue. I can't confirm that. But look, if he plays, he should be all right. He is a midfielder. Zane Dersma, again, another high-ranked draft pick, the brother of Xavier Dersma. And look, he's a forward line as well, so I can probably mix him there. It might even be better if I put him in there. But we'll just leave him in the midfield for now. Another, North Melbourne high draft pick that's most likely going to be in their side round one. They're a weak side, so job security for these two players, McEachran and Zersman, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just my concern is, it's a bit difficult with the North Melbourne setup. There are a weaker side. It's tough to predict, but he should, go up. Should go up in value. Riley Sanders, another high draft pick for the Bulldogs. I guess the biggest concern with him is the job security. Like with all these rookies, it's I need to wait for pre-season just to make sure are they fit and ready. Just to have a bit more trust. It's just kind of difficult because they haven't got quite more of a read on it yet. And Jeremy Sharp, now he's actually a bit more mature age. He's played this Gold Coast for a couple of seasons, so he is undervalued. And if he does play, mind you, I should probably put the emergency here. That's useless now, but yeah, look, Sharp, look, if he plays, he will go up in value. I guess job security is going to be his biggest concern. He didn't really quite fit in with the Gold Coast structure. And I reckon it might even be more difficult with Freo because they have a good defence. I don't know. I'll go with a midfielder. My bad. Well, they do have a good midfield as well, Freo. So look, that's going to be tough. With job security, if he plays, he will go up value. But yeah, job security's biggest concern with Sharp. Dry Clark, another rookie or a player. He has played, I think, one game, I believe. So he has been on the list for his second season now, and he didn't quite get the opportunities during his first season. A second year, he may get a few more opportunities. Again, there's another job security issue. Are Geelong finally going to realise the cliff's fallen off? They missed the finals last season. Are they going to have one crack this season? I mean, it's those things like Geelong in a way up, because Dangerfield isn't getting younger. Selwood's retired. They've got a lot of aging players. I reckon it's time to give some of these younger guys a play if they're ready. But look, I reckon we'll get a few more games this season, and hopefully it's round one. Need to get a bit of read on that in pre-season. And Clay Hall's just another cheap rookie. West Coast have picked up, and look, um, yeah, he's playing for West Coast. They had a terrible season last season. They're the worst team in the comp. And their percentage was by far the worst. So, look, he should get a game, I reckon. If a few of the older stars aren't performing, they may swap him with Clay Hall. But it's another read on the preseason. Job security again is the issue. Just have to wait and see with Hall. I mean, some of these rookie selections are probably going to fail anyway. I reckon Hall's probably that one. Who knows? It'd be great if they all can work out, but I got a feeling that one of these two will flop. Some of these rookies here will flop. I just don't know which ones. Hopefully, I'm wrong. And then on to the rucks. I think this is standard. Gordon Grundy. I think everyone's gone with them this year because they've been reliable in the past. The only concerns again with these two is at their age now. They're starting heading towards the later stage in their career. Particularly Gorn, he's getting older. Again, it's just with the off-field and sort of issues that Grundy have. Well, not off-field, but it's just the injuries and maybe the mentality. I mean, Grundy is a professional player, so I reckon his average will go up this season. I'm not too sure it's going to be high as what we're expecting. Gorn, same as well. He's getting older now. I mean, I don't think he's going to be as good as what he was a couple of years ago. He's still average high. And he's probably Melbourne's most important player, even more than Prochaka. Do I think these two are average to highest? I actually reckon English and Darcy could potentially average high, and they have. I'm a bit shocked, to see Gordon Grundy that as highest percentage. I guess because they're undervalued. I mean, I knew they were going to be a high percentage, not as high as I thought. I thought more people would go with the English or Darcy combo, I guess. But we'll wait and see. I actually don't think Gorn or Grundy might not even get the top score, the highest the highest average or total score. I think people just picking them because of the past and reliability. They've had more seasons at the top or performing well. So there's less risk on that. It's just with the injuries. There's probably maybe a bit of concern. I guess that's the main concern with the rucks and why there was a lot of drama the last few seasons, particularly last year. All the major ruckmen got injured at some point except English, which is a bit surprising. There were injury concerns about him due to previous years. So, yeah, look, we'll just sit with Gordon Grundy for now. But keep in mind, if either of those two get injured, we might have to look at other options. And then we've got Marley here as just an emergency backup. At this point, it's like, North Melbourne have picked him up. The Goldstein isn't playing there anymore, so he may get a bit more time there. I was guessing to free up some salary too. So we'll see how we go with Marley. If he plays, that'd be great. At the moment, he's just an emergency loophole. And on to the forward line. We've got McRae. Again, that is forward midfielder for McRae. He was a bit disappointing last season. Why I picked him simply because of the flexibility, and he's been a fairly one of the most reliable, Supercoach scorers. As I stated just before, he's been a bit low par last season, but he was playing against more of a forward line role, so I guess his average for forward line is acceptable. And it's a bit difficult with Luke Beveridge. I think Luke Beveridge is going to be one of the most unpressured coaches next year, and it's really on Beveridge where he gets selected. And this is the one that I just can't quite, read on in terms of where he's going to play in. McRae, it's just, I mean, look, he is definitely probably almost a must-have. I would say lock for a starting four-line pick. You don't really too much better options out there to look, look, McRae's, he's probably going to be your top 5 forward at the very least, in terms of averages. Luke Jackson, why have I picked him? Again, he's an emerging ruck. He's been in the season for a couple of years now. The only concern here with Jackson is the Darcy and combo. It just doesn't really quite work out with Freo. They're both great players, but they're both not really, forward line isn't their main. They're not a forward. So, and that's been the issue. Now, he is part of, he has been, a forward ruck, Jackson here, so he has played a bit of forward, but that's not his strength. So, this would be probably, an absolute lock, if he was his solely ruck. One of probably the best locks in terms of players above 500k. If he was, solo ruck, just a concern with him and Darcy, and it sort of just affects both of them, to be honest. If Darcy was at sole ruckman, he'll probably be one of the top scorers in the ruck and maybe potentially, I wouldn't say overall super coach, but definitely the rucks. If that wasn't to be, or be at least in the top 5 or top 3. So that's the concern with Jackson. I mean, he is emerging. He's, becoming towards his peak of his career now. So his average should increase, I reckon. But it's just the concern is, with the Darcy combo. Moving on to Flanders. Why would I pick Flanders? Because he had a good second half of the season. Fortunately, when I did pick him for my starting team last year, he didn't perform that particularly well the first half of the season. Which sort of just bugs the hell out of, me and a lot of other people. You pick a player, does crap for the first half, and then performs well the second half and becomes, a solid player. And it's just frustrating with Supercoach because you want those, players to perform well in the first half of the season and keep in their side. So, that's just frustrating. Or to at least gain value and you can move them on to get money. But, it wasn't the case with Flanders. Still was a better option than Fife, though. Taylor Adams, again, he's had injury issues. He's at Sydney, so I'm not too sure if that would change his role or just, the sort of way he's going to play. He is undervalued if he does play. He was a consistent, fairly reliable player at Collingwood. Look, he is undervalued and he does have that forward mid status. So, I reckon it's a solid selection, and I reckon everyone should have him in your side. I guess the major concern here is the injury and how he will adapt to a new club. We'll just have to wait and see on it. And Harley Reid, number 1 draft pick in the weakest side in the comp. Yeah, look, our lock. You mean if he play, he's going to play. So he's going to go up in average. I'm not really going to go too much into depth here. And Manag, I'm not too sure if I've pronounced this right, but look, he was the best player in the VFL grand final despite losing. So look, he's a mature age pick. He's hopefully Geelong, pick him or play him, and he goes up in value. Geelong probably should. I'm not too sure with Geelong. I guess job security is the biggest concern here, but look, there's a reason why they've picked him. So, he's mature age at his peak of his career, so Geelong should hopefully play him, and we can gain a couple of 100k out of him at least. Finley Macrae, he's been an assistant for quite a while now. Just hasn't quite, played enough. Just hasn't quite cemented his spot. Collingwood side, and I guess that's the reason why a lot of people pick him the pre-season, but he just doesn't. There's always hype around him, but he just doesn't get that. Doesn't get the game time he needs. So look, hopefully he does. Get some more time this year. Does play a few more games. This one's just a tough read against. We need to wait until pre-season and just to see what Collingwood's lineup's going to be round 1. So that will probably change. It's probably the one I'm concerned about the most in the forward line in terms of job security. And then we got Wilson here, 130k. There's another high draft pick that St Kilda picked, or one of their higher draft picks. Will he play? Again, job security is a concern. I also have that flexibility as a forward midfielder, which is the reason why I've picked him. Look, overall, how do I reckon this side? It's only pre-season, so there's obviously going to be changes with either injuries or players, who perform well in pre-season unexpectedly. There are a few other players I am thinking of, depending how well they perform. This year's only a pre-season side, so look, I guess the major concern is the job security with some of these rookies, and I guess some of these injured players that below out have performed not the best last couple of seasons due to injury or off-field concerns, or not being able to submit a spot in their side. That's the concern. Job security, injuries, but we'll just have to wait and see at the end of pre-season, and we'll just have to hopefully just make sure we don't pick any injured players. Everyone's fit and ready. I'm not going to pick a player who's not ready, who's injured, or isn't going to play. Well, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.